What's going on, guys? I'm Zachary Gray, and today we're back here in South Louisiana looking for rattlesnakes. Now we're actually going to be exploring some cypress swamp today. This is an area where these snakes are known to live, but I haven't seen too many. Let's go. We've caught rattlesnakes in some pretty weird places that you wouldn't think they'd be. That's an unlawful litter sign. That's pretty funny. So on today's adventure, we're searching some coastal oak and cypress swamps in hopes of coming across some of my favorite snakes.
Yes. Oh wow, that's a nice woo. Don't bite.
It's a speckled king snake. Ooh, he is trying to bite me.
Wow, that's a gorgeous one. Look at that.
Here in these wetland areas, there is a good amount of king snakes. And this is the time of year you're going to see these snakes coming out, especially during the rain, which, as you can see, it is raining. According to taxonomy, this would be a black king snake. Scientists, stupid. They relatively often end up reaching their maximum size in this location. Like, we're talking 4.5, 5 foot plus, that big around, beastly speckled king snakes. This is a more average size adult, and have a look at that head. He's got some awesome colorations on his head. This is a species that would be eating rattlesnakes. And while that's not what I'd like to hear while looking for the two different rattlesnake species in this area, it would be amazing to see that one day. These snakes will wrap around their prey and constrict it, and they'll even constrict other snakes. They're going to be pretty common in these more open areas. They're going to try to sun and get out a little bit. The sun was actually out a minute ago, now it's raining on us, which is actually the perfect way to find a speckled king snake on the move. They look very different depending on the habitat you find them in. This area, this is a pretty typical look. A really awesome snake to find on the move. We're gonna go ahead and put this snake back and keep looking for our rattlesnake, but that is awesome. All right, see you, little bud. Get back on your way. That is an awesome animal. Now, if I'm gonna look for rattlesnakes in this kind of habitat, I'm probably gonna be heading more towards the little cypress ridges. The water's really low right now, so I'm able to get to a lot of the areas back here that I don't normally walk to, which is very cool. Now I want to look for areas with swamp rabbits or any kind of droppings from them, because that is primarily what these rattlesnakes are going to be eating. As you can see, we've got some smaller cypress behind me, but I see a little bit of a larger ridge over here that could be good for a snake. Big timber rattlesnake. That is exactly what we're looking for. Oh wow. That is awesome. What? This is probably about a 4-foot timber rattlesnake. Really, really nice looking one. He's actually in shed, and he still looks nice. So this is probably a gorgeous snake out of shed. You can see that rattle is going off. Oftentimes when they're in shed, they're more likely to just kind of stay put. But if I were to mess with him, he's probably going to be a lot more wiry than typical, because he really can't see as well. One of this size could have probably about double or even triple the size rattle. But sometimes they do break off, which is just going to end up with that smaller rattle. They gain a bead on their rattle every time they shed. So for a snake this size to have a small rattle, it means his rattle has broken off a few times. What a special animal. Now you can see he's puffing up his body. They'll make themselves look bigger. These snakes are all about presentation, all about letting you know that they're there in a prime spot to just chill. Have a look at that snake. He's wiry. And when they're in shed like this, they are not ample to being messed with because they don't know fully what's going on. I want to lift you up there so everybody can see you well. You're down in the brush, nobody can see you. He's got a big scar on his belly. Oh wow. That's interesting. I've never seen that before. You can see these snakes in longleaf pine forests. You can see them in swamps. You see them in hardwood biomes. Ooh, it's all right. You're good. No reason to strike. Yowza. I don't know if this guy's grumpy just because that's his attitude, or if it's because he's in shed. I really just want to lift him up to where y'all can see how big he is. These snakes can max out at around 6 foot, and this is a fairly large one. If you were to see it in person, it looks a lot bigger than you might think. Now in this habitat, these snakes would primarily be eating rabbits, specifically swamp rabbits. There's actually a species of rabbit referred to as a swamp rabbit. It looks a lot like an eastern cottontail. And they live all throughout this habitat. They'd also be eating rats, baby nutria, virtually any kind of rodent that they can get their hands on, or any kind of small mammal. I have to guess one like this would even eat small possums, squirrels, stuff like that. There was actually a study done a few years back about how these snakes would smell where squirrels live. They'd go to the base of the tree and just wait right on the squirrel's little pathway. And in many areas, they have a high diet of squirrels, which is incredible for a snake like this to be able to ambush that animal. We've gotten lots of rattlesnakes that are pretty chill. We can pick them up with the snake hook. They'll only rattle for a little while. They won't strike. This one is not one of those snakes. It's very important to remember that each one of these animals can have a totally different disposition, even though they've been calm in the past. This is not one of those animals. Now, I'd have to guess in this habitat in particular, they'd have to be really good swimmers. In fact, these snakes have been found to cross large bodies of water from time to time. They'll cross lakes, they'll cross bayous, and sometimes they'll come up to people's boats when they're crossing, just looking for a spot to sit. And that really freaks people out. A big rattlesnake like this swimming up to your boat can be pretty nerve-wracking. They are sometimes considered one of the more dangerous snakes in the United States just because of how common they are and how much people run into them. They do have a bad venom, not the worst of rattlesnakes, but certainly a gnarly venom that you're not going to want to mess with. A really awesome animal. We're going to go ahead and leave him by his cypress tree. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to check out the time we were catching canebrake rattlesnakes in the city. Another amazing time there. We will see you guys next time. All right, I'm leaving you alone. That is quite the snake.